What if the world broke them first, and then called them evil for it? What if the villain is just the one who didn't break quietly? How many characters were labeled evil before anyone ever asked why? Think about it. Some weren't born monsters. They were pushed there, used, broken, abandoned, until becoming exactly what the story needed them to be, the enemy. Now here's the real question. At what point does a villain stop being the bad guy and start being a victim? Today we're counting top 10 anime characters who started as enemies and became allies, and why their transformations leave a bigger impact than most hero arcs. As we go, let me know in the comments, which redemption arc hit you the hardest? And who do you think should have never been forgiven? Welcome to Rift Anime, where we unmask the misunderstood, unravel forgotten stories, and challenge the line between hero and villain. Let's begin. Number 10 is Heisuke from Sakamoto Days. Heisuke is introduced as a chaotic sniper who only cares about getting paid. As an enemy, he's reckless, unreliable, and completely self-interested. He doesn't believe in loyalty, teamwork, or long-term goals. To him, every fight is just another paycheck, and every alliance is temporary. That mindset makes him dangerous, not because he's evil, but because he doesn't care what happens after the trigger is pulled. When Heisuke keeps running into Sakamoto and his crew, he starts seeing something different. These people aren't motivated by money or ego. They show up for each other. At first, Heisuke pushes back, pretending he doesn't care. But over time, his actions start changing. He stays longer. He risks more. He chooses the group even when he doesn't have to. Heisuke becomes an ally not through a dramatic redemption arc, but through consistency, proving that sometimes people change simply because they finally find somewhere they belong. Number 9 is Zora Ideal from Black Clover. Zora Ideale grew up hating the Magic Knights. And honestly, he had every reason to. Born into nobility but treated like nothing, he watched corrupt knights abuse their power while innocent people paid the price. To Zora, the Magic Knights weren't heroes. They were frauds. As an enemy, Zora worked behind the scenes, setting traps and humiliating arrogant knights who thought their status made them untouchable. Everything changes when he joins the Black Bulls. Unlike other squads, the Black Bulls don't care where you come from or what your background is. They care about effort and loyalty. For the first time, Zora sees Magic Knights who actually live by their values. His anger doesn't disappear, but it becomes focused. Zora becomes an ally by turning his bitterness into motivation, fighting alongside people who want to fix the system instead of benefiting from it. Number 8 is Uryu Ishida from Bleach. Uryu Ishida starts off as Ichigo's rival, driven by Quincy pride and resentment towards Soul Reapers. His people were wiped out, and he believes Soul Reapers are responsible. As an enemy, Uryu sees Ichigo as reckless and undeserving of power. Even when they fight together, there's tension and mistrust. As the story progresses, Uryu sees Ichigo repeatedly risk his life for others, even for people who hate him. That challenges Uryu's worldview. Still, his internal conflict never fully goes away. During the 1,000-Year Blood War, Uryu appears to betray everyone by joining Yuak. To the world, he becomes an enemy again. But in reality, Uryu is playing the long game, sacrificing his reputation to prevent something worse. He becomes an ally by accepting that sometimes doing the right thing means being seen as the villain. Number 7 is Choso from Jujutsu Kaisen. Choso is introduced as a deadly curse, fueled by grief and revenge. His brothers were killed, and Yuji Itadori is responsible. As an enemy, Choso doesn't hesitate. He fights with pure hatred, convinced that revenge is the only thing giving his existence meaning. During their fight, Choso experiences a sudden realization that completely changes him. He understands that Yuji isn't just his enemy, he's his brother. That moment destroys everything Choso believed. His rage turns into guilt, and his purpose shifts entirely. Choso becomes an ally, not because he's forgiven, but because he takes responsibility. From that point forward, protecting Yuji becomes his reason for living, showing how family can turn hatred into loyalty. Number 6 is Bon Clay from One Piece. Bon Clay starts out as a flashy villain working for Baroque Works, fighting the Straw Hats with style and deception. At first, he's just another obstacle in Luffy's way. But Luffy treats Bon Clay like a friend instead of an enemy, and that changes everything. As their bond grows, Bon Clay begins questioning where his loyalty really lies. That question is answered in Impel Down, when Bon Clay sacrifices his own freedom so Luffy can escape. He knows exactly what he's giving up, and he does it anyway, smiling until the end. Bon Clay becomes an ally through pure selflessness. His story hits hard because it shows how powerful genuine friendship can be. Number 5 is Hawks from My Hero Academia. Hawks was raised by the government to be a tool, not a person. He learned early that heroes don't always get clean hands. As he infiltrates the League of Villains, Hawks walks a dangerous line, doing things that make even other heroes question him. Hawks understands that the world might never see him as a true hero. He lies, manipulates, and even kills when necessary. But everything he does is to prevent greater loss. Hawks becomes an ally by carrying the weight others can't. His story resonates because it reflects a hard truth. Sometimes protecting peace means making choices that don't look heroic on the surface. Number 4 is Gaara from Naruto. Gaara grew up feared by his village and betrayed by his family. From a young age, he was taught that he existed only as a weapon. As an enemy, Gaara believed killing others was the only way to prove he was alive. His fight with Naruto changes everything. Naruto doesn't overpower him, he understands him. For the first time, Gaara sees someone who grew up in pain but chose connection instead of hatred. That realization reshapes his entire identity. Gaara becomes an ally and eventually Kazekage, transforming from a feared monster into a leader who protects his people. His story proves that empathy can completely change a life, showing that no one is born a monster, and even the deepest scars can become the foundation of true strength and compassion. Number 3 is Piccolo, Dragon Ball. Piccolo was literally born to be a villain, the reincarnation of a demon king driven by revenge. As an enemy, he represented pure destruction. But everything changes when he becomes Gohan's mentor. Watching Gohan face danger with courage and kindness forces Piccolo to confront his own emptiness. Over time, he learns empathy, sacrifice, and loyalty. Piccolo stops fighting out of hatred and starts fighting to protect others. He becomes more than an ally. He becomes family. His transformation is one of anime's clearest examples that your origin doesn't define your future, and that choosing who you protect matters more than who you were created to be. Over time, he learns empathy, sacrifice, and loyalty. Piccolo stops fighting out of hatred and starts fighting to protect others. He becomes more than an ally. He becomes family. His transformation is one of anime's clearest examples that your origin doesn't define your future, and that choosing who you protect matters more than who you were created to be. Number 2 is Meruem from Hunter x Hunter. Meruem is born as the strongest being in the world, believing power determines worth. As an enemy, he sees humans as disposable. Strength is all that matters to him. His relationship with Komugi slowly breaks that mindset. Through her, Meruem learns patience, humility, and empathy. He begins questioning what it means to rule and what it means to live. By the time humanity fights back, Meruem has already changed. In his final moments, he chooses connection over domination, dying as someone who understood humanity rather than ruled over it. Meruem's tragedy is that he becomes human only when it's too late. His growth isn't about losing power, but realizing power without compassion is meaningless. In the end, the king dies not as a god, but as a man. Number 1 is Eren Yeager from Attack on Titan. Eren Yeager starts as a kid who just wants freedom. He becomes humanity's greatest hope, and later, the one willing to shoulder its darkest burden. As Eren uncovers the truth of the world, he realizes that true freedom demands sacrifice, not glory. Eren chooses to become the enemy, so his friends and his people don't have to. He takes on the world's hatred knowingly, accepting that history will paint him as a villain. To the world, he is a monster. To those he protects, he is an ally who carried the weight alone. By allowing himself to be stopped, Eren secures a future where others can live without chains. His story reframes heroism, not as being remembered fondly, but as being willing to be hated for the sake of peace. Every step he takes is meant to push his friends further away from the battlefield. He fights so the next generation never has to choose between survival and freedom. In the end, Eren doesn't ask to be forgiven, only to be understood. These characters prove that enemies aren't always evil. They're forged by pain, loss, and impossible choices. Redemption doesn't erase the past. It rewrites the future. They didn't just switch sides. They changed what strength truly means. If you enjoyed this countdown, subscribe to Rift Anime, where we dive into anime's deepest characters, legendary transformations, and the moments that redefine everything. The story doesn't end here. This is just another arc. We'll see you in the next one.